Welcome back to Allison Customs Project Car TV. Thanks for joining me again this week, and I have another little welding project for us.
Welcome back to Allison Customs Project Car TV. I'm Jeff Allison, and thank you for watching.
Today we are going to use some scrap metal, and we're going to make just a desk, a pin holder, pencil holder for your desk or your workbench or whatever. I don't know whose idea this was. It's not my original idea. I saw it somewhere else and thought it was kind of cool and thought it might be a neat project. I'm going to practice my TIG welding with it because, you know, like everything, if you don't practice occasionally, it just doesn't get better. And I'm hoping you can see this pretty well, but it's basically some thin slices of what I'm going to use is 2x2 square tubing, and I've got a piece of 4-inch flat bar, and we'll just cut off a 4x4 section. I'm actually going to probably make 3 of these just so I can give a couple away. My 2-inch by 2-inch is like, it's probably 3/16 thick, just way heavier than it needs to be. And if you look in the picture here, you can tell theirs was really probably 16 or 18 gauge, which would be fine. I don't have any. It's 30 minutes to drive over to the steel place, 30 minutes to drive back, and I have the 3/16, so that's what we're going to use. In looking at this, in my mind, these are about 3/4 of an inch in a slice, and this looks to be about twice as tall, so that makes that one about 1 1/2 inch. These are probably actually 1.5 inches based on what things look like to me, but again, it's a scrap metal project. We're gonna just use what we have on hand. So as far as the materials list, we need 1 1/2 inch slice of 2x2, and we need there's one back there in the corner, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3/4 inch slices, and then we need just 1 square piece out of the flat bar. So as far as materials, we need some box square tubing, something to make the base. You could cut it out of a piece of sheet. I happen to have this. It was laying out on an old trailer, so I'm just going to cut off a square section. And that's it for our materials. As far as tools, need something to mark with. I'm going to be using the red paint marker today. I'm going to use a speed square, probably a Sharpie at some point. And this, I think, is actually 1-inch tape. Yeah, this is, or just under, probably 24 millimeter or whatever method they used to short us on a little bit of tape today. So I thought I was just going to use this to lay across there, and then that would give me a really easy mark for my measurements. So that's probably going to get too big dimensionally. This thing would get kind of tall. So if I can find some 3/4 inch tape, that's exactly how I'll lay it out. I'll just lay tape on there, and 2 pieces gives me the large one, and then each one of the other pieces, and you don't have to measure. It's also, but we'll see. If I don't have any 3/4 inch tape, then I'm just going to measure it all out. I'm going to cut it on a bandsaw. You could cut this with a you could cut it with a plasma cutter. You could cut it with a cutoff wheel on a grinder. For me, it's just easiest to use my little bandsaw and knock out all the pieces. So I'm going to go get everything cut, and I'll come back and we'll start building this. All right, guys. So everything's cleaned up and ready to get started. And it took forever. By the time I took all that rusty metal and went out and sandblasted it to get the rust off, and then deburred all the edges and everything. If you were making one, it probably would have taken me about 30 minutes, but it took about, I don't know, probably close to 2 hours by the time I cut them all. Like I said, sandblasted them, deburred them, and the whole bit. So what we're going to do though is we're going to weld these together. I'm just going to tack weld into the corners and then tack weld into the base plate. And then once we've got it all tacked and we're happy with with where it sits, then I don't know if I'll do a full perimeter weld or I'll just weld into the corners here, I think. And then we'll take a couple of these others and do something similar to what's in the drawing there, or in the picture, something like that. And then kind of stack them so it'll be one there, and then one back over here. I'm going to TIG weld this just for the practice. It'll be an easy MIG welding project. If you don't have a TIG welder, you get a torch and a coat hanger for that matter. Weld this up. So use whatever you got. I mean, a stick welder would be a little bit extra work just because you'd be trying to knock off your slag and all that all the time, but you could easily complete the job with it, especially on this thicker material. Like I said, ideally I would have had like some 18 gauge or something, 16 gauge. Pretty happy with that. Let's see. So I can't get all this tacked together. We're going to start with just trying to fusion tack this, meaning I'm not going to add any filler if I can get away with it. I'm going to end up adding some right here and there. I'm going to get a couple of clamps, and heat is trying to pull a couple of these. Alright guys, so here's the welds. I just welded across the top of each of those, trying to keep the offset so that they lined up. I filled the corners in there, which probably was, way more than it needed to be done. Kind of see. Same thing there. Some of the welds in here are better than others, but that's the whole point. It's supposed to be a kind of a TIG welding practice run. That was kind of the whole point, is to have a TIG welding practice thing, and project that I could use. It's actually usable, so you could leave it like this, clear coat it, brush it off again. I'm going to send them off with the rack that we made last week for powder coat, and then probably put one in my shop and keep my pins and stuff in it. So anyway, thanks again for watching Allison Customs Project Car TV, and like and subscribe. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for watching Allison Customs Project Car TV. Like us on Facebook and check us out at AllisonCustomsOnline.com.